Boom. We are live. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Yes,
So
sir.
I don't do much of the waiting for, oh, let's wait till we get 10 people in here. I'm not that type of guy. People gonna watch this later on anyway,
Oh
so it
yeah.
is what it is. So we're gonna start right off like it's a regular show, brother. So y'all know what it is. It's Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and we out here, you know what I mean? It's Philly the podcast, Sunday sports talk. We getting it popping, but let me shut up. I want your boy Rod over here, just to introduce himself. You know, he was here last time, but it was kind of impromptu. So, let's get a real introduction going for y'all.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Rod. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fellow Eagles fan myself. As y'all can see in the caption there, y'all can follow me at the Blunt Effect Podcast. That's on all streams. That's on Facebook. That's on Instagram and YouTube as well. I do a little podcast and showing the side myself. So you guys make sure you go check that out and leave some comments, drop some likes, and leave some, leave something to let me know, kind of encourage me to do something else or do something a little bit more. But we're going to get into this show. We got a lot of stuff
Yeah,
for y'all today, so this is gonna be a good one.
I got my notepad. So when I got a notepad, it's a wrap. That's
Yes,
that's
sir.
that's kind of how it is for me. But so let's get started right off the top. We're close to football season. We're under 30 days. It's a beautiful feeling. Looks like it's going to happen. It's going to start at least, and we'll tackle the next hurdle after that. With that being said, cornerbacks. We all know Darius Slay is kind of a lock, and it feels as though Nickel Roby Coleman is a lock at slot. Who do you think is going to be cornerback number two, cornerback number three? Who do you think is in the position to get those spots?
I actually had Roby Coleman as cornerback number two. I think he'll be a cornerback number two, and I think Sidney Jones, just because of their production last season, especially towards the end of the season, where we had times like where Avonte Maddox didn't show up and lost on crucial defensive plays and things like that. I feel like Roby Coleman and Sidney Jones both came in and stepped up to the plate and did what they needed to do.
Yeah, I like Sidney Jones. It has to be this year for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
We
sir.
we definitely took a bit of a risk, but high risk, high reward if you want. But he sounds like he's ready. He sounds like he's pumped up, and all the doubt is really just fueling him. He did make those two big plays, so that was beautiful. I wanted to be Sidney Jones to be cornerback number two so bad, to be
Yeah,
honestly, just so that pick didn't go to waste.
exactly.
Um, but I do think, and I kind of actually wrote an article about this the other day. I think Avonte Maddox is probably our best cornerback outside of Darius Slay right now, just talent wise. I just think his size is what's really gonna why sway. So I think it's really just his size that's gonna really hinder him.
Yeah,
Um, I want it to be Sidney Jones, and like I said, the quotes that I've heard from him makes it sound like he's looking at film and he's disappointed by what he put on tape. He put a lot of bad stuff on tape, and he said, that's just not him. So I'm looking forward to that. So if I had to make my prediction, I would probably say that Sidney Jones is going to start out there. Was good Eagles season. I would probably say that he's going to start out there, but I think it's going to be a battle all year.
oh yeah.
Especially if Roby Coleman is really locking down the slot and nobody's taking that position. That's kind of like where I think Avonte Maddox can be the best at. But so I think it's going to be between them two. With that being said, how do you feel about Razul? Do you think Razul is going to be part of the team next year or going forward after that?
Uh, I mean, I think Razul will be part of the team. Maybe not necessarily at corner. Maybe playing the safety position because he's one of those players that we kind of put in between both positions throughout the season, so we know he can play both positions. So I feel like he'll be there. Maybe if we have some injuries or something along those lines, which of course that hopefully it doesn't happen, but it comes with the game. So I think he'll be there more for depth reasons.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I like the guy. I love watching him play. He's a hard hitter. He can actually tackle most of the time, which is nice to watch. But yeah, I don't think outside of like injury that he's really going to see much of the field.
Yeah.
With depth being taken into effect, who do you think will be quarterback 2? Because I feel like everybody's just automatically giving it to Jalen Hurts because we drafted him high.
Yep.
But
I'm thinking,
go ahead.
I'm thinking it's gonna be Sudfeld. I think it'll be Sudfeld at number 2, and I think we'll keep Jalen Hurts as a third, just because with Carson having these last few seasons, the back injury last season towards the end, and then the torn ACL the season before that, and having Nick come in and play as many games as he did, I think it's important for us to have that depth at the QB position. And Nate Sudfeld isn't that experienced. He's just going into his second year, so he doesn't have that much experience under his belt to go out and, win games like we would expect Carson to go out and win games. So I feel like having Sudfeld and Jalen Hurts wouldn't hurt our offense. It's just good to have that depth just in case, because we already know with Carson, it's not, it's like a 20% chance that, he's going to get hurt, whether it's his back or it can be his throwing arm. It could be the knee that he tore his ACL. It could be anything. So we need to have that depth.
Facts. So I agree. And my thing is, especially this year, what's good, Philly Talk podcast? I see you. This year, especially, I think it's smart if we keep Jalen Hurts on the roster and then we push Nate Sudfeld, someone that knows the playbook, that can kind of just chill on his own and not necessarily have to, be around the team, and we can keep him healthy. Just with this season, it's weird how you have to think about stuff like that. So let's answer my boy Eagle Season's question real quick. He said, "Do you think the division is a 3-man race because Alex Smith is back? Remember 2018? He's a good quarterback." I'll let you answer that first.
I don't think so. You know what I mean? And I only say that because, Alex Smith has been out for almost 2 years now. And I mean, they got Dwayne Haskins, which he's been, okay at best. But it kind of seems like Ron Rivera might be kind of leaning towards giving Haskins the offense. So I'm thinking what they're going to at least do is see how it works with him. Because, I mean, he's going his second year. His rookie season wasn't too bad, but, I mean, he doesn't have the pieces on offense. So I feel like if they can get some pieces on offense around Haskins or around Smith, whoever, just some receivers for the offense in general, I feel like that's where you'll see a battle between the two quarterbacks. I think it'll be a battle in the training camp as far as to see who's a starter, but to go ahead and say that Alex Smith is going to be a starter, I don't think that would be fair to Dwayne Haskins, because he's been the starter for the last year and a half or so. And, Alex Smith is, he is coming off a torn, fibula and tibula.
Yeah,
which is
messed his whole leg up.
Yeah, like we're talking about, this man almost couldn't walk. So, do you really want to put that risk, like, back on the field? You know what I'm saying?
And that's kind of my thing, too. Like, he just got cleared for football activities. Now, to say, I think he could battle for the starting position. I just think that they're such in a rebuild. I don't even think that it's going to be a fair fight. I think they're going to be looking towards the future more than, the stats right now. And there's just so much going on out there. I've been on record saying that I think they have a good team. I think they have a solid core. They just have too much going on around them.
Yeah.
It's just too much non-football issues that I can't see them going too far or even really putting up much of a fight throughout the year. We'll see, though. I could be wrong. We could be definitely wrong. Now,
Facts.
Speaking of, kind of the division, we saw that the Cowboys got Griffin.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about Griffin? Because I know how I feel about Griffin, but I'm gonna let you,
I'm not gonna take anything away from the man. He's a great defensive end, great player, great caliber, great athleticism. But if our offensive line stays healthy, we got Jason Peters and Lane Johnson on the right side. I don't think anybody's going to be able to put too much pressure on those two guys. And then, we got Andre Dillard on the left side. So I don't think, I honestly, if our offensive line can stay healthy and can protect Carson, I don't see anybody, let alone, Everson Griffin. I don't see any defensive end being able to penetrate our offense. And
I think they just don't have depth. That's my thing with them now. Like, They have top heavy, which are older players. 29 isn't too old for DeMarcus Lawrence, I guess, but they're older. You know what I'm saying? And that's who you're gonna have on the field for like 70% of your plays, 70% of your snaps. So I'm not too worried about them at all because, like you said, we have a good enough offensive line, and their defensive line is gonna gas out by like second quarter because they're old as hell. But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them are excited and all this, but a lot of the Dallas Cowboys defensive line have not had much production in the past couple years.
Yeah,
So I was gonna say
ain't got
that.
too much to talk about yet.
So and then my boy Philly Talk Podcast said, "What's your prediction for all the teams in the NFC East?" He wants records.
Okay.
I'll take that one real quick first, and then you can take it after me. I got the Eagles around 11-5. I have the Giants around 9-7, to be honest, and then I have the Cowboys around 7-9, 8-8, and then I have the Washington Footballers or whatever they're going to be called, the Avengers. I have them around 3 wins, maybe 4. I don't really see them doing much. I don't see them doing much.
Gotcha. I'm with you with Washington. I think they'll have, maybe 4 wins, 4-12 at best. The Cowboys, I kind of put the Cowboys at 9-7. I think they'll have a winning record, but I don't think it'll be enough to get them in the playoffs. The Giants, I think they'll be 8-8. You know what I'm saying? At best, you still got to put some pieces around Daniel Jones. So I think once they get that going and get a little bit more on their defense, I think they'll be better off. But I think they'll be 8-8 this season coming up. And I think we'll be 11-5 as well, 12-4 at best. But we have a couple tough games in our schedule that you can kind of put up in the air. So I'm thinking 11-5, maybe 12-4 at best for the Eagles.
Yeah, I can see that. So we're about basically around the same. I know I differ a lot with a lot of people when I put the Giants over the Cowboys, but that's more of like a heart thing. That's my heart talking, but it is what it is. I don't care. That's what I'm going with. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So we've been talking kind of off camera about the wide receivers today. Dilla gave up a sack versus Everson Griffin and shut down Khalil Mack. So I'm not worried Griffin's been. Yeah, they. I mean, I think our offensive line, like you said, we can shut down just about anybody. I'm really not too worried. You know what I'm saying? Like we just got to stay healthy and stay healthy through like 1.5 quarters. Because like I said, they're gonna gas out. Like because they don't have any. Can you name one defensive lineman after their top 4? Like I can't. You know what I'm saying? They probably can. They probably know. The guy that used to bag groceries that's now a 5th defensive lineman, but I can't name you one. But so let's talk about wide receivers real quick. Let's switch gears there because obviously we're getting towards the camp battles. We already talked about the cornerbacks. Who are the wide receivers that you think are gonna make it? Maybe we'll do like 5. I guess we'll do our top 5.
Okay. I think Deshaun Jackson, that's a lock. Definitely.
Yeah.
His speed, quickness, obviously. He has a deep ball threat, and he's a threat with wide receiver screens due to the speed and size. I think Alshon Jeffrey is definitely going to make the squad. I think the off-field issues as far as the rumors about him being traded and all that kind of stuff, I think that's kind of 50-50, but I mean, every Eagles fan knows, just like I'm sure our front management knows that we need Alshon because of his size. He's taller than your average corner. His footwork and route run is okay, but his hands are great, and he has length. So I feel like that's going to complement Deshaun Jackson definitely with his speed and his athleticism. I think Jalen Reagor definitely be in those top 5. He was productive at TCU, maybe not so much last season, but I think as far as like special teams, he'll definitely be a big help on the special teams. Greg Ward, he showed potential last season in a few games that he played. He averaged over 9 yards per catch with 28 receptions for over 250 and a touchdown. And he played well towards the end of the season when we needed him. So I feel like he'll be somebody that'd be on the roster. And I kind of went a little bit outside the box with this one. I don't know too much about him, but just based off his speed and athleticism alone, I chose him. And that was Quez Watkins. I feel like he'll be a good add on because as far as the speed and he's good against zone defenses and his athleticism is good as well. So I feel like that was kind of my my not so sure pick because I don't know too much about him, but I think from what I've seen and what I've seen being said about him, I think he'll definitely be a good addition to the wide receiver core.
Yeah, so we obviously saw the video that I put up on Instagram of him kind of just burning Rasul Douglas. Now, it is Rasul Douglas. I'm more impressed with the catch, you know what I'm saying? Because Rasul Douglas is kind of slow for a cornerback. We all know that. But, all right, so my top 5 receivers, I would honestly put Quez Watkins in there too. I really like the kid. I think he's really going to be something. And he just has swagger to him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my top 5 would go. I think the top 2 are kind of easy. Yeah, Alshon. I think he'll start on the pup list. So Alshon, D-Jax. I do like Greg Ward. Obviously, Doug Peterson did say that he's in the mix for starter. So that's big. Last year he was in the mix to make the roster and didn't. So, the growth is crazy. He deserves it. But, yeah, so I'll say him as well. Like I said, Quez Watkins. And then my 5th guy would have to probably be like JJ or something. Like, I don't know if they would give up on JJ. Well, obviously Jalen, but it's hard. It would be like Jalen. I don't know. I guess it's JJ and Quez are the ones that are really going to have to battle.
Yeah.
I just don't see them giving up on JJ just because he was such a early round pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I had that same dilemma. I had JJ in my thoughts. He was really the person that I was battling with between him and Quez Watkins. I didn't really know, but looking at the stats, and I kind of went off of last year's campaign and some of those drop passes, like the game-winning touchdown pass that he dropped last year, and I those kind of things. I'm thinking like we don't.
And he looks lost.
Yeah.
He looks lost half the time. Like if you run back some of his film, like he's not even running the right routes. Like that.
Exactly.
A good example is the one that Dallas Goedert caught on the sideline with like one hand. That he like basically just was in the middle of nowhere, just like, oh, what's going on? Looked like he was getting some ice cream or something. Like, everybody's forgetting. He said, I forgot about JJ. Yeah, like he didn't do anything. So it's hard to even remember him. Like he did nothing memorable. The one thing I can remember that he did was he caught that ball on the first drive against the Cowboys that we won that game 17-9.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a really good catch. He also caught, or I think that was Matt Collins that caught the ball when Wentz was falling. Pretty sure that was actually Matt Collins.
Yeah,
either way, like he didn't do anything memorable. So like he shouldn't be on the team. I don't think so, unless he shows something crazy in camp, which I don't know what he can show in camp that he didn't show last year because they were talking about how good he was looking last year. So I don't know. I just don't see it. So going off of that, who do you see being a breakout rookie?
I definitely see Jalen Reagor being a breakout rookie just because of how we'll be able to use him. We can use him on our offense and we can use him in special teams. I think, him and Carson Wentz are going to, I feel like this receiving core is going to be a special one. I really think you're going to see a lot of guys who didn't get a lot of looks last year get those looks. And I think Jalen Reagor is going to be a lot more a part of the offensive side of the ball than a lot of us think. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us think because he's a rookie, he's small and we already have a small speedy receiver in Deshaun Jackson. I think a lot of people are, kind of putting Jalen Reagor under the burner, but I think he's a he's a sleeper. You know what I mean? I think he's definitely going to be one of those guys that you're going to see in those top 2 or 3 players for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I like Jalen. I think everybody's starting to come around to Jalen. I want to see some tape of him, at training camp. That's really what I think everybody's waiting for. I'm going to probably go on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to take an ultimate shot in the dark. He might not even make the roster, but I'm going to say Kayvon Wallace. I think he's gonna come in and he's gonna ball. To be honest, I think what we're gonna ask him to do is gonna be perfect for him. He's young, he's fast, he's tough. You know what I mean? He hits hard, so I think he can slide in right to like that Will Parks type role. or maybe even what Nicole Roby's going to do, maybe switch that up. So there's so much he can do. He can even play linebacker if we wanted to.
Yes, sir.
So there's so much we can do. So I think he's going to make a big impact some way. You know what I'm saying? Some way or somehow I feel like he's going to end up seeing the field. And with our health and history, anything's
He'll
freaking
be
possible.
there.
I might end up seeing the field with our health history. So keeping on the rookie train. So obviously all the NCAA conferences, most of the big conferences at least, they're starting to cancel all their seasons. How do you think that's going to affect the NFL draft next year?
Honestly, I think it's really gonna take these players stepping outside of their comfort zone and getting in contact and networking with a lot of these GMs and a lot of these scouts. Because now, oh, sorry, that's my phone going off. Like now, whereas, these scouts were going to see these players, they were traveling to go and see these games and see these players play. Now they're not going to do that because the season is canceled. So I feel like it's going to take more of the players reaching out to the scouts and saying, hey, I feel like I'm a good fit, or hey, I have some video or some tape that I feel like you should see, if and we can get together and go from there. Because I feel like a lot of it's going to be a lot of one-on-ones and a lot of face-to-faces this year in particular versus last year, whereas you had the scouts that you're looking at guys from LSU, Clemson, or whatever team, and you're literally flying out there to go and see these guys play, to scout these guys. I feel like now more or less people are going to be going off of last season. So people are going to go off the last season stats and probably get in contact with these people that way. But also you got to take in perspective that these guys aren't playing no football this season. So hopefully these guys are keeping their bodies conditioned and still doing the same things that they would do normally in order to keep themselves in shape to be prepared for an NFL season.
Yeah, it sucks mostly at least to me, theoretically, I should say, for the seniors. I feel like they're going to probably be the ones that kind of get, hurt the most, and a lot of the small school type players. The combine's going to end up, we're going to see a lot of workout heroes, workout warriors, or whatever they call them. A lot of people are going to post crazy numbers at a combine or a pro day or something like that, and are going to get overdrafted. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Like you said, without them being able to play football, it sucks. And I'm sure a lot of those people are devastated. Like a lot of the players, a lot of the coaches, they have nothing to do now. So obviously I'm sure they're going to be staying healthy, trying to get into the swing of things. Oh, we got somebody who wants to hop in.
Okay.
John.
What's
good,
going on,
bro?
John? How you doing?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing good.
How's it going, man?
Good. I know, y'all was on the football talk, but I gotta ask a question. What are you doing?
I'm making it brighter.
Leave me alone. All right. She apparently wants to be involved in this too. She didn't tell me, but anyway, my question is, and like I said, I know this is football, but is Damian Lillard a human being? Or is he like a monster that stole powers?
I'm pretty sure he put his hand on that magical ball. He's definitely soaking up everybody's power.
He's not human.
Not at all, bro.
The man scored 5,000 points in the last 5 games.
Bro, I think he averaged 52 or 54 the last 3 games since that LA Clippers game.
He scored 51, 60 something, and then 47.
And won those games. He wasn't ball hogging or nothing.
I don't know what he scored last night, but
I think it was 49.
Yeah, that boy's been going off. It's crazy to watch too, and he's clutch. It's not just he's stat stuffing or anything like that.
Listen. For my boys, right? Because I'm not gonna lay them worse odds. You know what I'm saying? I could go to Vegas right now and get 4-1, saying Blazers are gonna beat the Lakers. Vegas will lay me 4-1 right now.
You should.
And I'm
Don't take
offering,
my advice. Actually,
I'm
don't take my advice.
offering, I am offering that same bet to my friends. Heads up, I was like, you do not want to play Dame time right now.
No, not at all.
Not
It's been
at
fun to
all,
watch. So that's
man.
what you want to see. I feel like the NBA season's turning into more like a tournament, like an NCAA tournament, really, because it's gonna be crazy because they shortened the series and everything. Who knows? The Nets might actually make a little bit of noise. You know what I'm saying? I doubt
Man,
it.
nah, not when you get your guns back from the Nets, they're gonna be trouble.
Yeah, nah,
You know,
facts.
but I mean, with Kyrie out, with Durant out, man,
Hey, they won some games. They won some games in the bubble. I'm proud of them.
I can't believe they're even being talked about right now. You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
made some noise,
that's a
man.
testament to itself. To have
Facts.
them two out and you're still being talked about.
Yeah, definitely.
When them boys come back,
It's
good
a
night.
wrap.
It's gonna be a problem.
It's a
Good
wrap.
night.
It's definitely gonna be a problem.
I need to get a Brooklyn hat. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming through, brother.
All right,
Appreciate the
Yes,
question,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir.
hey, but if y'all want to take that bet up with me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm taking Dame time to
You
get.
taking Dame time? I'm gonna
I'm
put money
taking
on the
Dame
Nets.
time.
That's who I'm putting money on.
I'm taking Dame time to get out of the first round.
That's not a bad bet. If
That's
you
not
win,
at
just
all. I
the
was about to say I would take that bet.
you feel me?
I would take
All right,
that
man.
bet,
God
man.
bless.
All right, fellas, y'all be good.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. That's funny. Dame time he is killing it though. Dame is killing it.
That man's been doing some ridiculous stuff, man. It's crazy, but I mean, everybody, you know, when you watch, if you watch basketball, you know Dame time. You know, it's you know, he knows how to turn it on. So
And
it's
people
that
are
time.
talking junk about Holmes, bro. You can't. He's one of those dudes. He's almost like Jordan in that sense. That you
Yep.
talk junk about that boy, and all right, bet.
He's just
I got
gonna
you.
come back and prove you wrong.
Exactly. So if you talk junk about him all year, I would love to see what happens. Maybe they make a little run. I'm starting to have faith in my Nets. I'm not gonna lie. You know they've made some noise. They've been looking all right.
They
You
look
never know.
decent, bro. I really think once they get Kyrie and Durant back, I feel like if
Yeah.
Kyrie had have not opted out of playing in the bubble, then we will be talking about the Nets in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Facts.
But you
Facts.
know,
That shit. He wants to go start his own league and shit. I'm not really a big fan of Kyrie. I'm not gonna lie, but that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother time. But all right, so let's get back to a little bit of football. So, like we were talking about the draft being affected by that. So we also know that obviously The Rock bought the XFL not too long ago. Now that's looking more like a genius move. You know what I'm saying? Like
yes, sir.
my man's now all those guys that we were talking about that it sucks for that are possibly going to lose their shot at the NFL. The best place to go might be the XFL now. So,
yes, sir.
How do you feel about the move that The Rock made with that? You think it's going to really like flourish for him?
I think it's a good move for him because he's a ex-college player. He had his little stint in the NFL on the practice team, I think, and things like that. The wrestling and the acting thing, I think, also is going to help on the entertainment side because the XFL is a little bit more on the entertainment side versus the NFL. So I feel like that's definitely going to help. I feel like he's definitely going to help out the XFL. I think what he has on the knowledge of the industry and entertainment in general, I think he's going to be able to bring those attributes to the XFL and be able to bring other things and bring his cosign or bring along other athletes and things like high profile athletes, maybe not, your superstars from the NFL, but like you said, those guys who we expect to make NFL rosters, we might happen to see some of those guys on XFL teams and might see them make a huge impact.
Yeah, I don't think Devontae Freeman got signed yet. Maybe he'll go to the XFL. It'll be fun to watch, like you said. And I think it was the move. I think if you leave college at this point, especially if you're a senior and you don't make the NFL draft or you don't make the NFL, I should say, that's not a terrible option for you. You're getting paid, you know what I'm saying? So it's a good look, and we'll see what they change about it. What they change is especially pay wise. I know they weren't getting paid the most money, so it'll be interesting to see. what they do with those pay structures and the roster structures. I think it's going to be fun. I think
Oh
at the
yeah.
very least, it'll be fun. Also, talk about that. Let's talking about money. That was a perfect segue. We saw what George Kittle got. We saw, obviously what Travis Kelce has. What does that? Where does that leave? I should say, Zach Ertz.
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like, a part of me, I mean, George Kittle and Travis Kelce are great players. Statistics show that, they've had more yards and more touchdowns than Zach Ertz over the last 3 seasons. But I feel like, in a way, San Francisco kind of overpaid George Kittle. He doesn't have, I mean, he has, Pro Bowls and all pro team accolades and things like that, but he doesn't have that one thing that everybody plays for. He don't have that Super Bowl ring. You know what I mean? So I feel like the fact that he got paid so much kind of hurt, the Eagles and Zach Ertz in a way, because, last season, I think what we offered him like $12.5 million a year extension. So was it like $50 million?
Yep.
So now we're going to have to bump that up like another 20 to 25 million, over 5 years, just to match what, Kelce and what Kittle are getting or receiving themselves. So, but I feel like, if we need to go ahead and do it. We need to get that done. I feel like Zach Ertz has proven himself in the league. He's proven himself to our team. He's the number 1 receiver last season. So there is no reason why we shouldn't give him that money. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, unfortunately, it might be a little bit pricey compared to what we offered him before. But, I mean, that's what happens in the game. When you have other tight ends that are at the top of their position, the top of their game, and they're getting these max contracts, you have to do what's right by your players, especially if they're a top caliber player. And Zach Ertz is a top 3. He's a top 3 tight end. So he deserves that money as well.
Facts. Yeah, no, I'm all about paying attention. A lot of people will say, let's trade him, let's, get the worth out. I don't think he's going to try and get number 1 tight end, historical money. It's going to probably be his last contract. I'm sure he'll get paid like top 5, tight end money. He might break a record somewhere. He might get like 1 year that he gets crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
He said he wants to be with the team. He said he wants to be like Kobe Bryant. He wants to stay with the same team his whole career.
Yes,
so
sir.
I think he's going to cut us a break. Whatever that break will be, we'll see. But I think a lot of Eagles players are going to have to cut us a break at some point.
Yeah. We got some contracts and some things we need to work on before we
seriously
give
we have a
Zach
lot.
some
We
money.
have a lot. So we'll see. I think. Oh, what's up, Philly girl? So we have a lot that we got to worry about, but I think at the end of the day, he's worth that money. So at the end of the day, you have to figure out a way to go ahead and give him that money. Go ahead and just get it over with. It is what it is. It's a terrible. This is actually what I wanted to get into next. Anyway, so good question, Wise Sway. He says, I have a question. Do you think cap space will be gone in the future? Because everyone wants big contracts, it seems like now. I'll answer it this way. Like, I know Howie Roseman gave certain contracts to certain people, including, Carson Wentz, with the expectation that the cap is going to grow. Obviously, nobody could have expected, what's going on now with COVID and everything. But with that going on, the NFL is looking at, taking losses. And the first place they're going to take that from is from player contracts and salary caps. So it's very possible. A lot of people are going to have to work on their money, or a lot of people are going to have to, end up on the free market and end up on teams that just have ridiculous amount of money. It just makes our rookies that much more valuable, in my opinion. But what do you think about that?
I was actually going to say the exact same thing about the rookies. I feel like, if every team is trying to sign, big name players in to big contracts, and yes, your cap space will be gone in the future, because nobody's going to be able to, realistically speaking, every team can only support and pay but so many superstar caliber players. And I mean, you know, you have some seasons where your cap space might be a little bit higher, and you have some situations where you have some superstar players that might, you know, leave a team or sign like a franchise tag or something like that, to help the team out on that salary cap. But I feel like, you know, like Sway said, everybody, you got a lot of players who are wanting big contracts now, so that's definitely going to contradict a lot of teams who have a lot of big name players or who have a lot of players that are potentially looking for big contracts. I think you're going to see in the future a lot of big name players move to other teams for that reason, because you're going to find that your smaller market teams might have more salary cap space because they don't have big name players like, you know, like your Cleveland Browns and your Cincinnati Bengals. You're going to find that teams like that have more cap space to pay these superstar players in the future because they don't have anybody on their team.
Yeah,
so I definitely think that's the cap space will be going in the future, unless, like you said, these GMs and these team managers start to, you know, alternate and figure out now what they're going to be doing as far as looking towards the future, which I feel like, you know, if you're paying players, you should be looking towards the future anyway, as far as your money is being concerned. So I think that really is just going to rely a lot on the front offices of these teams.
Yeah, and you know, we all know Howie. Howie loves to give those dummy years, those fake years at the end to kind of stretch the salary cap hit a little bit. So, you know, it might end up coming to kind of bite him in the butt. We have to see what happens. Like you said, a lot of big name players are going to probably end up on different teams. A lot of players on the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to end up on different teams at some point. So it shortens a lot of people's windows. It actually makes the game a little bit more competitive, in my opinion. I think a lot of the players see it like we do. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's not going to be that long that you can keep super teams together.
Exactly.
But I think we have the rookies in place. You know, we drafted the correct places and the correct type of players that it can at least hold us over, you know, for a couple of years, and maybe we hit on some more rookies and just kind of keep it going. Might give you an answer of why we got Jalen Hurts. You know, maybe that's what they were ultimately thinking. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, Wentz is way too expensive, and you know, it's anything's possible. You never know, and you know, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys watched way more tape on Jalen Hurts than Eagles fans because I feel like they think he's God, and we're just like, I mean, he's our backup. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So,
Exactly.
So how do you think that's going to go this year? How do you think that whole Carson versus Dak thing's going to go? You think Carson's going to finally shut these people up?
Oh man, here we go. You know, I feel like Carson, I mean, Dak had a good season last year. You know, I'm not going to take away from, but at the end of the day, he's still a cowgirl. So I have to do my due diligence as an Eagles fan. You know what I'm saying? And I have to go with my man Carson. I mean, Carson is only getting better. Now, yes, he has his injuries, and I feel like a lot of people they like to throw that into throw that on his name and say, oh, he's injury prone and all this and all that kind of stuff. But I think he is the most productive person to come back off of a major injury. You know, you don't see too many people who come back off a torn ACL and produce the way he's producing and lead a team the way he's been leading the team.
Other than AP, that's the only person I can think of.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I feel like, you know, Dak has weapons. I mean, he's got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. He's got Amari Cooper, one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. You know, so I mean, it's kind of hard to not say that. It's kind of hard to not say that Dak isn't going to do good. I mean, he has the support. I feel like Carson has less support at the wide receiver court than Dak does, and I feel like Carson puts better numbers up, and I feel like his percentages are better. He has less interceptions. What quarterback do you know, that's thrown for less than 20 interceptions in the last 3 seasons? I'm pretty sure Dak has thrown 20 interceptions in the last 18 games.
Yeah, for real,
so,
facts.
You know, that's not even 2 full seasons. So, I mean, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Dak. He has athleticism. He's got the ability to get out the pocket and scramble a little bit if he needs to, which Carson does from time to time. We might see a glimpse of some speed from Carson. But, you know, of course, since the ACL, he's more cautious. He's more, he's a pocket QB. So I feel like, that you can't compare the two. I feel like Carson is, up here and Dak is like right
Talent
there.
wise, yeah, it's not even
here,
close.
but he's like right there.
Talent wise, it's not close for me. See, so all right, so Jason Cutter said, I feel that the window to the other championship for the Eagles is closing. I love to hear it. I love the hate. I love the doubt. It is what it is. At this point, especially for Cowboys fans, I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure he's a Cowboys fan. Might be a Giant. I don't know. I might be wrong. But either way, my thing is you can't say our window is closing or we have a quarterback crisis when your quarterback is not signed. That's my whole thing. Like, you don't even know if your quarterback is going to be your quarterback. And then you sign a 30-plus-year-old starting quarterback who's been to the playoffs multiple times. I mean, it's not like you guys just, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's Dak. It's Dak in the future. Like, you guys have so much uncertainty. It's crazy.
If it was Dak in the future, why didn't you go ahead and give that man his money? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of just put a hold on him. Like, you put him on layaway.
And a Cowboy fan said one time to me the other day, Nate, we'll see if Nate's in here, but he said to me, it reminds him of the Kirk Cousins situation. And that's not good. That's not good. If you're a Cowboys fan, I'm not happy about that. That means in 2 years he's gone and you got nothing out of him. That's what the Kirk Cousins situation was. Like, makes no sense to me. So, yeah, our window is fine. Our window is fine. So back to
that whatsoever.
Not whatsoever. At all. I think that, we hit enough on our drafts. Obviously, we have to get better at it. Every team does. There's certain players and certain player types that we mess up on, especially wide receiver. Yeah. We're good at getting linebackers. We're good at getting, D linemen. We need to get better at getting cornerbacks. There's obvious, flaws in what we do, but we've gotten better every year. So we just got to keep hitting on these drafts. Was there anything on your mind? I know you said the other day you had some shit you wanted to talk about.
I mean, I feel like we pretty much touched on everything, you know what I mean? The Zach Ertz thing was really something that I wanted to touch on because I just felt like, I looked into a lot of different things and I feel like at this point, Zach Ertz is we have to keep him. If you want to, I mean, we have Dallas Gobert, which I'm not taking anything from Dallas at all whatsoever. But, when you have the player and Zach Ertz, I mean, that's like having Kobe to Shaq. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have one without the other. You can't have a good wide receiver core without having Zach Ertz. You can't have a good receiving core in general without having Zach Ertz. You know what I mean? We got Alshon, we got Deshaun, and we got all the other receivers, but I feel like Zach Ertz is a big body with great route running skills, great hands, great agility, athletic. He has everything. I mean, his speed is not 4.25, you know what I mean? Nice. But, he's a very quick tight end. He's not, a lot of tight ends kind of have a little bit more weight on him than Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is a very toned person. He's very athletic. So I feel like we have to keep him, especially
that duo is deadly. Yeah, that duo is deadly. So my boy, did you ask the question from Instagram, Philly P? Did we go over that? What was the question again, Sway? Damn. Wait, WENTZ. Yeah, he asked. My bad, Sway. Thank you for reminding me, bro. He asked, why do people consider Carson Wentz so injury prone? And then he compared him to other quarterbacks that have gone out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Me personally, are you gonna look it up real quick?
I got notes on it, bro. I got notes.
So my thing with that, I totally forgot about that. My bad with that. My thing with that, I think it's mainly just a lot of Cowboys fans that want to talk junk, that, just want to make him seem more hurt than he is. He has been hurt in a lot of key situations, so it might seem like it's worse than it is. But I'm gonna let you really, I'll let you take it. I'll let you go.
Gotcha. I think when he asked the question, he named some specific players. I think he said Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, and Carson Wentz. So I went and did some research. So since 2016, when Carson got drafted, Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL, and he sat out 13 games that season, and then he returned and played a full season the next season. So since 2016, Jimmy Garoppolo's missed 6 or 13 games. Aaron Rodgers since 2016 missed 8 games because of the neck injury that he had in 2017 with the broken collarbone. Deshaun Watson missed 8 games his rookie season, and Carson Wentz has missed, since he's been in the league, he's missed about 12 games. So when you put all those games missed beside, all the other players, I feel like Carson Wentz has been the most productive player out of those players, considering the injuries that he's had and what he has done since he's came back from each injury. So I feel like, Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL, came back and took his team to the NFC Championship. Aaron Rodgers, he's A-Rod, he's going to do what he does every year, so we don't really got to really elaborate on him too much. Deshaun Watson, he missed 8 games his rookie year, and he came back and played a full season his next year after he tore his ACL. So I feel like, when you got a lot of people that talk about Carson being hurt, but I don't think anybody has came back and carried their team the way that he has, especially with the types of injuries that he sustained. I mean, he sustained a back injury at the end of the last season, which, we took him out, which I think was a good move, which was probably part of him missing the beginning of the season because, he was nursing the ACL and things like that. So, and then, of course, our offensive line, we were injured at that time. So he was taking a lot of hits. So that just goes back into us having a healthy offensive line. So if our offensive line is healthy, I don't see him taking that many hits this year, and I don't see him getting hurt.
Facts. And that's what a lot of people don't take into account. If you look at our whole team continuously is just injury prone, if you want to use that word. It's a rough word, but it is what it is. Like, and it might not be for the full 16 games, everybody, but it might be 2 or 3 games here missing Lane, 2 or 3 games there missing JP every year for like the past 4 or 5 years. So he hasn't had the same team on the field for 16 games, even if he's there. So it's rough, and then obviously last year, like you said, we saw him just put the whole team on his back. And if you watch 2017, he put that offense on his back. I mean, it's not like we had superstar players. Yes, Nick Foles won, but at that point, all he had to do was not mess up. Yes, he balled out in the Super Bowl. Do not get me wrong. But if you look at all his other games, the first 2 playoff games that he had, to me, at least, the defense won those games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the defense shut the Vikings out after that first touchdown. That first return interception for touchdown, that's really what sealed that game. He balled out in the Super Bowl. I'll give him that 100%. But, for people to continuously keep on comparing Nick Foles to Wentz and Wentz to Dak, it's just like, it's crazy to me, and it always goes back to like, oh, he was injured when you guys had the Super Bowl. We got somebody else. Oh, my boy's back. We'll add Brandon back.
Oh, what's going on, Brandon?
Not too much, man. Just in the process of moving.
All right, now that we got Brandon back, we're going to close this out. I'm just kidding. What's goody, my guy?
Not much, man. Just busy, but I wanted to at least hop on for a little bit.
Yeah, so let's ask you this question while we got you on here. My boy Y Sway asked, why do people continuously always call Carson Wentz injury prone? And then he compared him to, what was the quarterbacks again? Garoppolo.
He compared him to Jimmy Garoppolo, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, see, I think what it looks like is that Wentz is typically hurt during like our biggest moments. I mean, it's only been 3 short years compared to like an Aaron Rodgers career. Because I mean, yeah, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, but he's been in the league for a while now. So I mean, I feel like you can't really compare the two because the longer you're in the league, the higher chance you are to get injured. It is what it is. It's a big man sport. You're back there standing still, getting popped. I mean,
facts.
It is what it is. But for Wentz's sake, like, yeah, he injured his wrist in college, so people are using that against him. And that preseason to his rookie year, he hurt his ribs, but that's not really his fault. If everyone remembers that hit, he got hit hard in the ribs. Like, I don't know, I forget if it came off the left or right side, but there was no blocking, and he got hit hard. if you have to remember that Sam Bradford was a starter. So Wentz was back there with backups blocking for him as well. So then he got hurt there, but he played the whole rookie season anyways. And then he tore his ACL in a freak accident. So, I mean, you can't really, and then the concussion from Jadeveon Clowney, you can't hold that against them. It got popped in the back of your head. You can't like work out your brain. You can't control that. You can't control that stuff. So I don't know why he keeps getting that injury card when it's only been just a couple injuries that are freak accidents, nothing like a pulled hamstring or something that's preventable from working out and stretching.
And that's a good point. I didn't realize that. And another point that I wanted to go back to was the rock with XFL. We were talking about it off camera a little bit, Brandon. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that and like how we talked about how that might be $1 billion move. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it at first until you brought it up that now with COVID and everything, that actually might have been a very smart investment for the young players, either seniors or juniors out of college that are not able to showcase their talents or anything this year because of COVID and everything shutting down. That their opportunity could be the XFL, kind of like how the NBA has their leagues around the world and the G League and all of that. The NFL doesn't. There is no other thing besides maybe Canadian football. But other than that, I mean, not too many players come from Canadian football. I mean, what was it? Mark from the Rams quarterback. What's his name?
Mark Brunell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
I think so, but we all know that he went to Canadian football and came back. Like, there's not
Doug
too many people that
did. I know Doug Flutie did at one point, so he was on the Wheaties.
I think it could be. I think it could be a very smart investment with COVID going on and thing. I bet that's what they talked about and everything. Like, we can get all these young kids that maybe don't want to stay the full time in college or just haven't gotten a shine because of the college they chose to go to because of maybe education purposes more than football, but they're good at football and want to play.
Yeah. So while I got you here, we're going to go back to one more thing also. Everson Griffin. I know a lot of Eagles fans, we talk junk to the Cowboys because that is somebody at the end of the day that we wanted them. Yeah. It is what it is. We all, can admit that. Yeah, we definitely would have.
Now we got Vinny Curry. We got Vinny Curry.
We got VC. We're good. We got VC. But my thing, so I just want to know like how you feel about that defensive line. If it's something we should worry about. I'm not too worried about, but just want to hear your idea.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, it looks good. I mean, you can't deny that on paper it looks good. But if you look at the Eagles' defensive line two seasons ago, on paper, we looked crazy good with the Michael Bennett. What was the guy from the Ravens that we grabbed?
Jernigan.
Jernigan. There was another guy. I forget his name. He had so many sacks, but needless to say, when you added up all the sack totals from like all the people that we had on our line, it was something ridiculous. I was like flaunting about it, sending people pictures and all that.
Yeah, we had a squad.
But everyone got hurt. It didn't add up. Like the numbers didn't add up. It was nothing crazy, and you realize that it was a bunch of like older guys that we picked up to be on the defensive line. So I mean, it's hit or miss. I mean, yeah, it looks good on paper for them, but age kicks in. There's no preseason working out. How's everything going with that? So I hope it doesn't work out for them, but on paper it looks good.
And now that I got you, Kurt Warner. Yep, Kurt Warner came from the CFL too. That's true. And he was bagging groceries too. So I'm about to go get a job at Publix, and then I'll be in the NFL.
It was Kurt Warner that I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense too. So all right, let's answer this question real quick. I got off track, I should say. So he said, I'm a Broncos diehard fan. He felt that the Eagles Super Bowl window was closing pretty soon, and this was his why. He said that the Cowboys are good and the Redskins are making moves, and the Giants just need real good leadership. How do you feel about that?
I think the Giants need a little bit more than really good leadership. Their offensive line's not good. And then one of their top top trades from 2 seasons ago, a free agent, Nate Solder, he just opted out this season. And they're going to run Saquon into the ground. I mean, they don't really have much supporting cast around him. They have an old Golden Tate at this point, who's still a baller. Don't get me wrong. That dude is a beast. But, I mean, that's one of their best receivers. Maybe Darius Slayton. He's pretty good. But
Sterling Shepard's all right.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, they have solid pieces, but I don't really see them being a bigger threat than the Eagles. And then the Redskins, just way too much distractions. If they overcome everything, then maybe they can be a threat because their defense is young and fast and pretty good. But the only real competition in our division is the Cowboys at this time. That's in my opinion. In my opinion.
How about you, Rob?
I feel the same. I think the only competition is really the Cowboys. I think the Giants, they like, you know, like Brandon said, they got to work on more than just leadership. I mean, Saquon is young, and I mean, you want to build around him. The worst thing you want to do is run that man to the ground, and by the time you get to build around him, he's not a factor anymore. You know, he's injury prone, or, you know, because he's taking such a beating. I mean, not a beating, because we all know the man's a beast. Like, he can run through pretty much anything. But even, you know, when age is going to come, you know, running backs don't last that long in this league. So, you know, he's going to be taking those kinds of beatings and taking those kinds of hits and that kind of pounding every game. You know, his career is going to, he's going to be like a Barry Sanders, you know, who retires at like, 33 years old, because he just got ran to the ground every single game and there was no supporting cast around. As far as the Redskins, I think, I'm going to be honest, I think they're kind of irrelevant. I mean, they got a lot more to worry about. They got to worry about finding out what the name of their team is going to be. Apparently, you got to figure out what you're going to do with Alex Smith. You got to get some people in the receiving core. And you know, you got to get running backs. You got to, their defenses, you know, have potential to be very good. You know, they drafted Chase Young, so that's a very good addition to the defense. But they got to get something on that offensive side of the ball, other than, you know, Dwayne Haskins or Alex Smith, which they don't even really know which quarterback they're going to go with. So, you know, they got to get some things going on the offensive side. Maybe Ron Rivera and his, you know, offensive mind, and maybe, you know, he's a defensive coach, but maybe he can get some guys together that can help and contribute to the offensive side. And maybe you can be like, you know, he did with the Carolina Panthers. But otherwise, I don't see Washington being very relevant for a couple of years at least.
See, I feel like I'm in the minority here, because I see the talent on the Redskins. Like I said before, I feel like there's just so much going on non-football wise in that state, or, you know, around that football team. I just don't see them, like you said, being a factor. With the Giants, I think they're going to be better than the Cowboys this year. And I know I'm a hater, so that might be a good 75% of why I feel that way. But I think they have the pieces to be a good team. The biggest thing with them was Daniel Jones fumbling. Daniel Jones had like 18 fumbles, I think it was, that I said. That's a lot. I mean, Wentz fumbles a lot. Don't get me wrong, but not that damn much. I think Wentz has 20. Wentz has 23 over, you know, the 3 or 4 years that he's been playing, and compared to 18 in 1 year.
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, Wentz is bad. Don't get me wrong, but that's like historically bad. That's like
that's
crazy.
That's at least one a game, and 2 of those games you add one more. That's insane. That's insane.
Exactly. It's like, how do you even do that? Like, and some of the fumbles, I should say, one of them, he just got big boyed by Jamal Adams. Like, y'all saw the video I put on Instagram. Yeah. He literally just got big boyed by Jamal Adams, just like Orlando Scandrick did in that Jets game against that like nobody quarterback. Yeah, that happened to Daniel Jones. So he's definitely not perfect, but that offensive line sucks. Like, really bad.
That's their biggest, that's their issue right there.
So we'll see. But I think the biggest thing holding back the future of the Eagles is kind of the history of our division, our injury history. There's a lot of stuff that we just have not been able to get right that could hold us back. Right. So he said, I'm a Broncos fan. Just want to show you love. Can't wait to play Madden with Brandon and everyone else. Yeah,
hey, what up, Jason?
They beat us in Madden every day. Well, they beat me in Madden every fucking year. I suck at that. I don't know why I keep joining the league. Every year I'm like, I'm gonna quit, and then I end up still on the league. But yeah, no, I think we just have to rewrite our history. We have to like kind of rewrite our path, right the ship, get our injuries, you know, under control. Pick the right players in the draft. Easier said than done, but we just have to be smarter. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel like we took a good couple steps this year. You know, mostly with words. We kind of went back on a lot of stuff that we said. You know, we said we wanted to get younger. We said we wouldn't stay attached to players. We did let go of Malcolm Jenkins, but we did bring back JP and a couple of other players that was just like, all right, well, I thought we were getting younger.
Yeah.
Well, JP probably wouldn't have came back if Brandon
without the
didn't get hurt.
injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I'm not mad, don't get me wrong, but it's just, you know, a couple of things were just like, well, I would have kept Malcolm Jenkins. You know, that's my thing. I still would have kept.
Yeah, I would have definitely kept Malcolm Jenkins.
Even with,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's just like, it reminded me when like we got rid of Dawkins and we didn't re-sign him. Like, don't get me wrong, Dawkins is in another tier than Jenkins, but that leadership and everything. But then again, maybe Mills kills it at the safety position now in his natural position, and we just need a little bit more speed. Jenkins can hit, but there were times when he would get outrun by a running back going. I think there was one play 2 seasons ago, Kamara just went right past him. That was a touchdown. So, I mean, it sucks, but hopefully.
Well, that gives me an idea of a question. Like, what games are you guys most excited to see this year? If you had to pick one or two, you know, top 2 games, which are the 2 you're most excited to see outside of the division? At least for one of them.
I want to hope that we can get over the hump and maybe beat the Seahawks. That would be nice. I mean, I cringe every time we play them as of late because Russell Wilson, even when he's not having a good game, he's still having a good game because he makes those clutch throws. So if we can finally beat him, that would be a nice little victory and maybe a momentum builder. I don't know. I forget what point in the season we play them, but that'd be great. That's my opinion there.
How about you?
I think it'd be good. I'm looking forward to seeing us play the Seahawks and the Packers. Like, I think those 2 games, those are other 2 best NFC teams, and I just feel like those are going to be good. We both got good defenses. I feel like our teams are pretty much even. I mean, of course, you put Aaron Rodgers on and Russell Wilson on a little bit higher tier than Carson Wentz, but I feel like we owe the Seahawks a game for last season in the playoffs because I feel like we definitely dropped the ball on that, and I feel like the Packers is just going to be a good game to see in general.
Yeah, no, we definitely owe Seahawks a little bit of revenge because we almost beat them without any hamstring.
I just thought about
without
that.
Carson Wentz.
Right.
Like, it's just ridiculous. But I'm gonna have to go. We play the Steelers this year, right? I'm not mistaken on that.
Yeah. Because you made that in one of the previous podcasts. You were saying how it should be a rivalry type thing because we play them again.
So I want to play Steelers. I'm looking forward to that. It's only every 4 years. So every time it happens, it's awesome to watch. And one of my friends is a big Steelers fan, so it's kind of fun. It's the battle of the state. Yeah, battle of the state right there. So that'll probably be my favorite to watch. My boy Wise plays at 49ers and Ravens. The Ravens game is going to be lit.
Yeah, we're either going to get blown out or it's going to be a great game. Because Lamar Jackson is going to feast on our defensive linebackers. There's no way. I don't know. Maybe I'm sounding pessimistic, but that's
the way we don't really sit home a lot. I think one of the things that the defensive line like about Jim Schwartz is that every time a new player has come into our system, they're like, he just lets us go. So they're just flying up the field. But when you fly up the field and he cuts the other way, you're not fast enough to catch him. This isn't Madden. You ain't getting that angle on him. Yeah. He's out.
Speaking of fast enough, you saw that Quez Watkins and on Rasul Douglas. I hate saying his name because I hate, putting him on blast. I hate putting him on blast that was the guy that got burned, but that's the guy that got burned. So
that second move, he tripped up. Quez Watkins did that little step on the outside at the top of his route. Rasul tripped over his feet. He cut back in and had that one-handed.
At the end.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. Well, all right. Well, we made it the hour lap again. Felt like it was 5 minutes, but
you did.
That was dope, guys. I appreciate y'all. So we're gonna end it here. I appreciate everybody that's in the chat still. Make sure you guys are subscribed, like it, share it. It'll be up live in like a half hour or so. But other than that, you guys say goodbye and show love.
Peace out.
Peace out, everybody.
Y'all know what it is. Fly Eagles fly. We out here.